Alright, quick update. I just found this out just right now. And yeah, I mean, as expected, yes, Rise of the Tomb Raider is a time exclusive. Phil Spencer even said it himself, so there you go. It's great that it is a time exclusive. It's not a permanent exclusive because that would be bad. But the question is, for how long? I mean, the bottom line is it shouldn't be even exclusive in the first place, but whatever. So, yeah, when I did the vlog, it was on Tuesday, and I just found this out, I think, on Wednesday about it. So, again, for people, yes, Rise of the Tomb Raider is not exclusive for Xbox One. I mean, it is, but it's just a time exclusive that it'll eventually be on the PC and PS4. So there you have it. So with that, let the main vlog start. Hello guys, Axel once again, and this is going to be a follow-up to my vlog on Tomb Raider, the sequel to the reboot one, Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider. Anyway, I want to talk about just my thoughts on exclusive in general. And after a while, I was looking at a lot of the comments on YouTube and forum, and I gotta notice something also that I'm gonna have to give my thoughts about it. And one of the most biggest comments that I always see, the most common one that comes out, oh wow, you guys are so mad that it's an Xbox One exclusive. I bet you if it was a PS4 exclusive, everybody's gonna be happy. Yeah, I can kind of see that. It does sound like a double standard, and I'm sorry to say, as a Sony fan, guilty for it also, that I do like exclusive, but if it's on the PlayStation, I got a smile on my face. I know, I do apologize for that. It is unprofessional, and that is fanboyism, and it is a double standard. So, but with that said, I want to give my thoughts about exclusivity and why I said that when exclusive comes to a Sony platform, not a lot of not a lot of people are mad about it. All right, first of all, let's talk about exclusives throughout the history. Yeah, there have been a lot of exclusive games ever since the Nintendo days, the 8-bit era in the 1980s to early 1990s. But the thing is, how come people are not mad exclusive in that time? Oh, and by the way, before I go on, for new generation of gamers who never grew up in the 80s or in the 90s, or let's just say you start gaming with the Xbox 360 and the PS3, yeah, you're probably not gonna understand why in the past exclusivity was something that a good thing, but now it's a bad thing. Okay, with that said, let me continue my story. It started with the 8-bit era and the 6-bit era. Nintendo basically dominated the video game business no matter what. Nobody really couldn't compete them. Like I said this before in my previous videos, that when Nintendo came up with the Super Nintendo Entertainment System or Famicom in Japan, Sega tried to counter it with the Sega Master. Even so that, in my opinion, I think Sega Master is a bit powerful than the Nintendo. I'm not really sure. I mean, it had better graphics, I can tell you that much, than the Nintendo. Most people just flocked to the Nintendo Entertainment System because it was well known. People get into it, and I guess I don't know if I said it before, but even at IGN, Brian Altano basically said this: when that the word Nintendo was a pronoun or an action word. It's like basically it's another word for saying, oh, that guy was playing video game. So, like, if I go to my friend's house, let's say my friend's name is Johnny, and I said to Johnny's mom, hey, where's Johnny? And Johnny's mom probably going to say, oh, he's in this room playing Nintendo. And even so that he's not playing Nintendo. I mean, even in my home country, we use the word Nintendo as the meaning of playing video game because, again, like in the 8-bit era and the 16-bit era, Nintendo really dominated the video game industry. So I go to my friend's house, my relatives, oh, what do they do? Oh, they're playing Nintendo. Like, wait, what? Nintendo? And it basically means video game, even so that they're not. I knew a friend who was playing Genesis, but his mom just said, yeah, my son's playing in his room, playing Nintendo. Again, but he's playing Sega Genesis because that's another word for video game. So when it gets exclusive for Nintendo, it was a good thing because the majority of people, I'm sorry to say, grew up with Nintendo, as I will. That's why I'm doing a lot of things video game related, because it wasn't for Nintendo. Same goes probably with Alpha Magazine. I know Review Tech USA, Boogie2988, and Adam Sessler. The majority of people who grew up in the 80s played Nintendo. There's a rarity to be called a Sega kid, a Sega fan. Let's just say that. So anytime exclusive comes to the Nintendo or the Super Nintendo, it's always joyful. When it comes to the elder system, they go, oh my gosh. And to some extent, it wasn't a big deal because, again, the majority of people probably had a Nintendo or a Super Nintendo. So that's why exclusive was a good thing, because you're building the console of your preference of a lot of games. Then let's move on to 1996 when the PlayStation, the original PlayStation, PlayStation X, or PlayStation 1 debuted. They sort of changed the market, and now, and the reason also why now, and this is the part like, oh, it's PlayStation exclusive, people are not going to complain about it. Yeah, because of its history. PlayStation basically marked their history throughout, they marked their story throughout the history. So they proved it with the PlayStation 1, with the PlayStation 2, and now they're doing it with the PlayStation 4. Not so much with the PlayStation 3, because that's the anomaly, or let's just say the black sheep of the PlayStation family. That'll be a different story, but let's go back to PlayStation 1. So, first of all, what's the big deal about PlayStation 1? Just like the Nintendo, it was a mainstream gaming console. What that means is people who never been in a video game want to step in. People basically grew up in the late mid-90s or later. Their probably first system was a PlayStation. It wasn't N64 because of what they did. Even so it was more powerful, medium they used, they didn't have a lot of game, and people already flocking to Sony PlayStation, including myself. And here's the backstory. Why did I end up going to Sony after Super Nintendo? Easy. One game. Final Fantasy VII. Ever wonder why that's a mainstream Final Fantasy? Why that's the most beloved Final Fantasy ever? It was mostly new gamers' first Final Fantasy. Mine was, let's just say, Final Fantasy 4 or 2 in the Super Nintendo. Different story. But 7 is the dynamic Final Fantasy. It evolved from the 16-bit to a 32-bit, and that's why. So now, that's where you get a lot of third-party. They just flock into Sony. Tekken, Soul Blade, Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, Legend of Dragoon, and a lot of third-party game was basically with Sony PlayStation. And when it came to the Sony PlayStation 2, let's just put, no offense, the Dreamcast to the side, PlayStation 2 basically dominated the PS2 era, and that's why it's called the PS2 era, with the PlayStation 2, Dreamcast, Xbox, the original one, and the GameCube, because PlayStation 2 throughout that year was just dominated. Not only you can play PS2 game and PS1 game on the same console, but DVD as well. Dreamcast, not so much. There was no backwards compatibility. GameCube, can't even play your N64 game, but there was a rumor about an N64 peripheral for the GameCube, but in the end of the day, that was scratch. Xbox was just brand new. So that's why when people said, oh, I bet you it was a PlayStation exclusive, people are not going to complain about it because of PlayStation 2. There was just, a lot of the games were just exclusive because they were so far ahead of the market. The majority of households have PlayStation 2. Maybe a minor with the Xbox, original Xbox. Maybe some have GameCube, but to some extent, if you have a PlayStation 1, you're going to go to the PlayStation 2. The only time that exclusivity become a bad thing now is the HD era in 2006. And because PlayStation 3 was the black sheep, and let's just say they screwed up in the market, then all of a sudden the game that were supposed to be a Sony exclusive, such as Tekken series, the Devil May Cry series, Final Fantasy. Let's see what else I can think of off the top of my head. Well, there are other things. Now, exclusive games are becoming a bad thing. Because the reason now is the market changed. The Xbox 360 basically proved themselves that the system is good, just like the PS2 and the PS3. They basically made a false move, making it too powerful, making bad decisions, making it expensive. Now they're basically in equal footing. Wii was in a different story. So that's when, in the HD era, starting in 2006, exclusivity became a bad thing. And then, of course, 2010 and so on, exclusive is back, but in the form of content, not game itself. Even so, it's still bad, but that's a new way of exclusivity, because at least people can get to play the main game to the console of their preference. So that's why now exclusive back. But yes, the advice here, if Rise of the Tomb Raider was a PS4 exclusive, nobody's probably going to complain, and I do agree with that, because again, of what PlayStation did in the past. And believe it or not, to some extent with the PlayStation 3, yeah, they made it up for it, they redeemed themselves. That's why you have a lot of JRPG game only exclusive for PS3. And here's the second thing. Oh my gosh, exclusives suck. Well, how come in Japan or in Europe and other countries they don't care about exclusivity? Well, here's the thing about some countries. Europe was PlayStation country. I think even this now, they are still. But yeah, granted, there are Xboxes and maybe Nintendo console. In Japan, there are either two things. Sony PlayStation console or Nintendo console. Xbox One or the original Xbox did not sell well. Xbox 360 sold mediocre, and then it was dead early on. And then Xbox One, from what I heard, they don't even have Xbox One yet in Japan. So we'll find out in Tokyo Game Show, TGS. But again, that's a different story. So yes, exclusive is basically a bad thing now, as of right now, in this new era in America. But if you go maybe again to Europe or in Japan, maybe not so much. Especially not in Japan, that due to the fact that they're not really fan of the 360, and I don't even know if the Xbox One is still out there. So that's my general thought about the exclusives. It was a good thing in the past, but starting in let's just say mid-2010, and of course with this new console, 2013, exclusive is becoming a bad thing. They really shouldn't do it. Alright, so who's good for exclusive and who is bad for? Well, this is a common thing. Good for the hardware business. So they get the advantage. Bad for the consumer because people can complain about it, and then push it to shove. Like I said before, they will vote with their wallet. Like in my case, I would like to try the new Tomb Raider, but I'm not willing or intend to buy an Xbox One. I already said it before, time and time again. I am only going to stick with Sony PlayStation 4. That's my preferred console. So I'm not going to move to Xbox One. I would like to try Killer Instinct. If that goes to the PC, maybe I'll buy it. But again, option, different story there. but I'm not going to intend to buy an Xbox One. And like to review Tech USA about, oh, what's the point of it being console? All I can say is, what's the point of option? So option's a bad thing? Just saying. And also about this exclusive topic, I want to also shout out on Boogie2988. You gotta check his video about Tomb Raider's exclusive that was so beautiful that even himself was saying that it's a bad thing. And I even agree to some extent, it is a bad thing. But if it was in the Sony platform, I know I'm going to be biased. I'm professional on my part. I do apologize. I just can't help it. So, yes, exclusivity to some extent is a bad thing, good for business. But here's the thing. Oh, is it an exclusive illegal? That's wrong. Is it bribing people wrong? Not in the, and sadly to say, in the video game business, not so much. They've been doing that long time ago since, believe it or not, the NES days and the Super Nintendo days. There have been games that was exclusive to Sega Master, and they paid the company for it. So, and again, it is, believe it or not, is it unethical? No, it's not. It's a deal. They're just making a deal. They can always refuse it. It made I think the biggest nail in the coffin was Rockstar. Yes, I did say Take-Two, I know a parent company, but Rockstar, the developer of Grand Theft Auto 4 and 5, the Grand Theft Auto 4, they got paid, I think, $2 million, correct me if I'm wrong, I can't remember this, for 2 episodic exclusive for the Xbox One. They paid him for it. And again, bad for the consumer, good for business. Because business, believe it or not, sometimes, yeah, there is no honor, there is no etiquette rule. And sometimes it's survival of the fittest. You do whatever it takes to basically persuade people to go to your console. If you like me and prefer Sony and you don't want to be weak, just don't buy the console. Have a strong spine, a strong body, and just don't buy it. Don't get persuaded if you really hate it that much. That's what I do. But again, exclusivity, again, is bad because but like I said, and also part of exclusivity, there is 2 ways that can happen. Most common is when a hardware company, let's just say that's right now, Sony, Nintendo, or Microsoft, pay a lot of money to the third-party company, say, make this exclusive for us, and you'll get rewarded. And some people will accept that. But there's also 2 other versions. Route B is when a third-party company just said, well, I want to support a certain hardware company because they piss me off, just the language, or whatever. I'm going to support your system. That's basically very low, but there are some, such as Ninja Gaiden. Not really. Dead or Alive 3 is one. Dead or Alive 4 was another one. There are some other games also. And the GameCube, Sega Gem Collection for the GameCube. And one for the fighting game, people who basically were in the PS2 era, one of the infamous controversy was SNK themselves. That is when the company basically say, forget you, you're screwing with me, I'm going to the other company to piss you off. Can anybody say Resident Evil 4? You know that story. So, and then third route is basically, and this one is when the developer basically are getting funded by the hardware company, such as Dead Rising 3. Why is it an Xbox One exclusive? Because it was Microsoft who funded the game. Why is it deep down a PlayStation 4 exclusive? Because Sony funded the game. And of course, the infamous Bayonetta 2, or of course another one is Third Devil, what's exclusive to Nintendo, is because Nintendo is willing to give them money to fund their game. So in that case, you really can't complain about it. Yeah, Bayonetta 2 kind of sucked. It's only the Wii U. And I said this before, if you really hated it that much, vote with your wallet. But you also can understand that in the case of Bayonetta 2, no other publisher wants to support it. Sega didn't want to support it, and from what I heard, Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft was also offered, and they said no, thank you. And also another one with this route is Titanfall. Believe it or not, it wasn't just an Xbox exclusive. They actually offered it first for Sony, but all they asked was, Sony, can you help us fund the game? And Sony said no. So Sony, I'm sorry to say, I know Titanfall is not really that uber good, but you're an idiot. I'm sorry, Sony. I'm a Sony fan, but that was an idiotic thing to do. So those are the type of exclusivity they can do. Route A is always the bad thing is when you're getting bribed. Route B is when the company's trying to screw you, then that's bad. And then Route C is when hardware company basically going to publish your game and funding you directly. So, and again, so Route B and C for exclusivity, you really can't complain about it to some extent. Route A, definitely. So, definitely. So, again, those are my thoughts on exclusivity. Yeah, sometimes it kind of suck that Tomb Raider is an Xbox One, but again, probably Crystal Dynamics said, wow, this is a lot of money. We could probably use this to make a better game, make Tomb Raider better. But at what cost? Is it really worth it just to be in one console? And for me personally, I say no. No. Because there is a bad sign. Look what happened to SNK and look what happened to Capcom in Resident Evil 4. Let me just start with SNK. In the PS2 era, SNK was going to bring their game to the PS2. Samurai Shodown 5, Metal Slug 3, SNK vs. Capcom Chaos. It was already been planned, but in the very last minute when they heard about the new rule for Sony's new policy, that any game that are 2D, that the value itself is 2D, the game engine, everything's 2D, that there is no 3D element in it or component, the game has to be lower than $50. SNK said, that's wrong, we're not going to make any money. So they basically took a risk, went to Xbox, and if you want to know the result is, it failed. It failed bad. King of Fighter Neo Wave became $20 even with online. King of Fighter 94 Reboot was canceled because the game itself did have online for PS2 or the PlayStation, PlayStation 2. They were trying to put Xbox, they were trying to implement Xbox Live, and that failed. They lost a lot of money. So, SNK screwed up, thanks to Ben Herman, and I'm sorry to say that he's a really bad president at SNK. Thank goodness that he basically quit. So, did they make it up for it? Yes, with King of Fighter Neo Geo Battle Coliseum and King of Fighter 11 and their King of Fighter Classic series, selling it for $15. The reason being is that they were really just cutting losses. Even SNK said, plus the game I think in Japan was selling it for $20 with online, so since you remove the online component anyway, so you gotta deduct it. Just my opinion. So they learned their lesson, and again, sometimes if you're gonna do an exclusive, go to the most console household. So like right now, PS4. There are more PS4 than Xbox One. But again, Crystal Dynamic, you made your bet, now you're gonna sleep on it. Let's see if you really can convince people to buy Xbox One. But on a personal note, don't expect me to buy an Xbox One Crystal Dynamic. Because, no siree for me, I don't want to spend a lot of money. I just want to buy one console and all my games there. And if I want to do an alternative, I have a Wii U and a PC. That's it. So Xbox One for me, no siree, Crystal Dynamic. No, no, no. So, the same goes with Resident Evil, learned their lesson. Shinji Mikami hated Sony because of his, personal issue from what I heard, and probably his ego also got the best of him. And I was really surprised that Resident Evil 0 and Resident Evil Remake was sold poorly. I thought it was sold actually good, but I guess it wasn't. And of course you know why. I bet you if it was in the PS2, it's probably going to sell more. That's why Resident Evil 4, basically Capcom said, yeah, screw what Singe's decision is. We're gonna bring it to the PS2, but we'll just make it a time exclusive. Is it wrong? Definitely, because they basically backed up Shinji Mikami, and all suddenly, somewhere in the middle, you backpedal and say, oh, screw this, we're going to PS2. I mean, yeah, it was stupid to be a game Nintendo exclusive. I mean, like I said, Shinji Mikami's ego probably got the best of him. But, you know, sometimes type of thing happens. Same goes with Sega Jam Collection for the GameCube. In Europe, it's from the GameCube and PS2. In America, the reason why it's only in the GameCube was Nintendo paid a lot of money to Sega to make it exclusive. That's why when people did try to call Sega, hey, how come you did it? They couldn't even answer. They weren't even inclined to answer the question because they were paid. So, like I said, you're right. Exclusive is a bad thing, but it's not unethical. It's not illegal. Bribing someone in video game is not illegal. It's up to the other company in the receiving end to either choose to do it because they need the money, or say, let's make the consumer happy. We're gonna risk it. We're not gonna take your money because we want all people to be happy. Look at what happened to Rockstar Grand Theft Auto 5. There was a rumor. There was even a rumor that Microsoft was trying to get in touch with them, say, hey, can you make us again exclusive just like Grand Theft Auto 4? And of course, this time around, Rockstar said, no thank you, we're just doing this on our own. And there you go. And even it was, like I said, it even was a shocker, be more supportive with Sony than with Microsoft. Because of course, if you know there was a Grand Theft Auto 5 bundle for the PS3, didn't really need it, already had a PS3. And by the way, Grand Theft Auto 5, awesome game. I really recommend it for anyone to play it. But if you're young, ask your parent first if you're allowed to play. That's what I'm just saying. So, again, that's a bad thing about exclusivity. What happens if you're trying to take a risk? So there's two that can happen with Crystal Dynamic. One, maybe people will flock to go to Xbox One and finally get to play this game because they really love Lara Croft. Or two, they're going to say, you know what, forget this game. You don't want to share it to you share the love to all the game company? Well, forget that. I'm out of here. I'm not going to play it. And again, Tomb Raider is a AAA game. It sold a lot. People love the game. And that's also another subject I'm going to talk about quick. Oh, how come you're complaining about Tomb Raider being exclusive, but how come people are not complaining that Samurai Warrior or Dynasty Warrior is not exclusive and you guys don't complain about it? Well, again, it's a case-by-case basis, different game. Even like I said in my no dub, no buy video, I love the Musou series. You also got to understand, the Musou series, they don't sell well. That's not a AAA game. It's a fan service game, nothing personal. Tomb Raider, guarantee a lot of people are going to play it. That's why. Now, are they going to be able to sell 5 million copies? Probably not. Are they going to make a lot of money? Probably not. Because that's what CG thought with Resident Evil 4. People thought they were going to flock with GameCube. Well, Resident Evil 0, 1? Nope. Resident Evil 4? Definitely not. Because when they heard the news, people were returning all their GameCube. There was even at one point that people were buying GameCube just for this game. But is that going to have the same happen with Tomb Raider? I'm going to tell you this in an unprofessional way. Hell no! No! This is 2014! Consumers are not that stupid anymore. What were you thinking, Crystal Dynamic? No! No! I mean, like I said, if it's with a PS4 exclusive, you're probably gonna make decent amount of money because, like I said in my history about PlayStation, they earned their history. They earned their story in the history. Xbox, they're getting there with the 360. So, but then with the Xbox One, they kind of messed up in the beginning, and I already talked about that. Okay, well, there you go. My thoughts about exclusive. There are good things about it, and there are bad things about it. But in the end of the day, in conclusion, in 2014 so on, exclusive game should be no more. They shouldn't even exist anymore. exclusive content is if you want to battle exclusivity. And also making a lot of options. Remember, PC is also an option now. People always have PC beside console, even though there might not be a PC gamer. But trust me, I'm a console gamer, but I do play a game at Steam. Just look at some of my showcase video. Just saying. So those are my thoughts on exclusivity overall. Yeah, I always talk too much. Every time I do this vlog, I do apologize. Maybe next time I'll try to cut it shorter. But there's a lot of things I have to say about this, and it really just, I need to address everything from Sony's bias exclusivity to my thoughts and the history of exclusivity that started in the 80s now to 2014. So thanks for listening. That's it for now. I'll see you guys later. Bye.